Hi, I'm Bianca Nellis here, and I'm at the campaign headquarters for Hassan Alyassin, and I'm here to ask a couple questions. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, thank you, Bianca.
Well, first question is, why are you running for mayor?
I'm running for mayor of Pomona because when I've come back to my community that I was born and raised and educated in, from graduating from the University of Santa Cruz, I came back to a city that is crime ridden, its infrastructure is crumbling, and our education for our children is poor. And these things are things that we can address, and these are things that I will address as mayor of Pomona. I want to ensure that our kids have a first-rate education here in Pomona. Right now, as you go to our high schools, you see that they have a second-rate education, and we need to make sure that they're caught up on their API index so that we continue to receive funding for No Child Left Behind. Holes in the streets. This is a major problem. Many of our residents complain that we need speed humps on our streets so that we control traffic and we fill these potholes. You can go to any street in Pomona and find a pothole in it. These are things that we can address, but we're not because we're mismanaging our funds. We're in a $3 million deficit last year because of wasteful contracts by our city council. And so, if we just redirect some of these funds, you thinking about our budget in a fiscally responsible manner, we can start saving some money and addressing some of these problems.
So, what's your vision for Pomona?
My vision of Pomona is one where every Pomona resident has access to the internet, because we need to ensure that our residents are not falling behind in the digital divide. That's to say that with the internet becoming increasingly a bigger part of our everyday lives, we need to ensure that our children are caught up so that they can use the internet to get online education classes. They can use the internet to keep their contacts up with every other part of the world that's becoming technologically advanced. So part of my vision of Pomona is leading Pomona headlong into the 21st century and not looking back with these tired old ideas, but bringing in fresh new ideas and utilizing technology to realize that we're a community, and it's just one part of bringing a community together.
Um, how do you plan to address crime?
Well, first of all, I would sit down with Police Chief Romero, realizing that crime is the first thing you think about when you think about Pomona. We need to address crime, and that's going to be a top priority in my administration. We need to sit down with Police Chief Romero and discuss how we can more effectively use our police forces. I want to bring in a plan that they utilize successfully in New York City, where they partition the Pomona City into a grid and focus our police forces in the areas of these grids that have the highest crime rates. What that's going to entail is that in areas of low crime rates, you might have less of a police force, but in area of high crime rates, you're going to have higher visibility, more police, and biannually, twice a year, we're going to reevaluate these squares to see where we need to refocus our attention. And this worked very successfully in New York. The whole idea behind this is, let's use ideas that worked in Pomona. Let's not try to reinvent the wheel. If an idea was successful, I would bring it here to Pomona and implement it.
So, why should the people of Pomona elect you for mayor?
Well, my ideas are on their own basis. They stand alone. They're great ideas. I'm talking about ending global warming, not ending global warming in the whole United States, but doing Pomona's part to ensure that we're not contributing to global warming by utilizing solar panels on our public buildings. I'm talking about making sure that every Pomona resident has access to technology so that we don't fall behind, and I'm making sure that we focus on our children's education. Um, that's We can't ever lose track of our children's education. Our children are our future, and as long as we pour money into it, I want to work with the school board and the superintendent to ensure that as the city council, we're giving the school board everything they need to ensure that they create an environment of education. So we need to provide them money if they need it. We need to provide them spaces to teach or give our kids if they need it. And that's going to be a priority, and we're going to make sure that we give the school board everything they need to give our children the best education possible.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get my inspiration from one of Martin Luther King's famous quotes, which is the fierce urgency of now. And what this means to me is we need to act now. We can't wait till tomorrow to solve many of these problems that are plaguing Pomona. We need to act now to make sure that our children have a first-rate education. We need to act now to make sure that we don't fall any more further behind. And we need to act now to ensure that we put solar panels on our buildings so that in the future when energy prices are rising, our hands are not tied, and we can be pointed to as a model city and have other cities say, look at what Pomona did. They were able to totally erase their energy bill by putting solar panels on their building. They were able to make their community integrated and wireless for free. And these are things I want to do in Pomona. And when I think to that quote of the fierce urgency of now, I realize that now is our time for the younger generation to step up to the plate and assume some of the responsibility for our future. Looking back on the Bush administration's last 8 years of stewardship of our government, it's terrible. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. Our energy prices have tripled. More and more foreclosures every day. We need to ensure that the next generation that takes the reins and with all these things in mind and how to reverse them to ensure that every average American and Pomona resident has a better quality of life. And that's why I'm running for Pomona mayor, and that's what I want to provide for Pomona residents.
So, you're against checkpoints, but does that mean you're against the police?
That's totally ridiculous to come to that conclusion that I'd be against the police because I'm against checkpoints. As a matter of fact, I support the police in everything they do, but I'm just against any violations of the Fourth Amendment, which checkpoints clearly are a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So I want to make sure that the Constitution is adhered to in Pomona, and I want to dispel any notion that I'm against the police. I support the police 100% in everything they do in Pomona. And actually, part of my platform is to be really tough on crime, to make sure that we don't give criminals an opportunity to establish themselves here in Pomona. And I'm going to need the police on my side to do that. So that notion of me being against the checkpoints, against the police because I'm against the checkpoints, is totally ridiculous.
Thank you. That clears a lot. If you would like to find out more information about Hassan Alyassin, go to the website www.hassanformayor.org. Thank you.